Coming up this week in work.
I have a new word. I'll explain it properly in just a bit. It's a new way people are treating work, and it matters for anyone who hires or manages a team.
Also this week, new research out of Stanford suggests constant complaining actually rewires your brain. So those teams that moan together are actually training themselves to be less resilient. So what should leaders do when griping becomes the default?
And in Truth or Lie, we take on manifestation. Can visualising success actually change outcomes, or does imagining the win make you do less of the work that matters? I've read the evidence and I'll give you the verdict.
And in the workplace surgery, one listener asks, what's the earliest sign of burnout you should spot before someone actually admits it? So how do you catch it early and what actually helps?
This is Truth, Lies and Work, the award-winning podcast where behavioural science meets workplace culture, brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals.
My name is Al, I'm a business owner, and I'm here to ask the questions you might be afraid to.
And my name is Leanne, I'm a chartered occupational psychologist, and I'm here to answer them.
And together we help you simplify the science of work and build amazing workplace cultures.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Hello, welcome back. Happy Tuesday if you're listening Tuesday. I'm not sure do you reckon people listen Tuesday? I suppose our listeners will show us.
I think Danny does.
Yeah?
Yeah, I usually accidentally message Danny on a Tuesday evening. He's like, you're literally coming in my ears.
That's a reference from Peter Kay, which incidentally, Phoenix Nights is 25 years old this year, I think.
Not.
I think it is.
No, it's not.
It is.
Don't stop it.
Phoenix Nights is brilliant.
I'm so old.
I know.
On a brighter note, happy National Squirrel Association. No, what is it? Happy National Squirrel Appreciation Day.
That's just nuts. I love that.
Lol.
Happy. So where did you find that?
So I was looking at, they have those lists of international days.
Oh, today's National Jelly Day or something.
Yeah, because I try and keep things fairly topical, or if there's something happening, link it in, like we talked about Blue Monday last week and all that kind of stuff. But there's not much else going on this month. But today is National Squirrel Appreciation Day.
Unless they're living in your attic, then I think we should all appreciate squirrels.
Yeah. Do you know who does appreciate a squirrel?
Is it our hound?
Peanut the
Podenco. If you Podenco is like a Spanish hunting breed, and he's kind of like probably 70% it, but God, he loves a squirrel.
Loves a squirrel.
He does.
He's had a squirrel toy since he was a pup. That's always his favourite.
We're proper dog parents. We've actually got a spare just in case he loses it.
We're on squirrel version 4, but it's the same toy.
It's like Trigger's broom. Anyway, so we didn't come here to talk about squirrels, although I tell you what, I'd like your opinion on this, listener. Get onto LinkedIn, tell us. We took down a Christmas tree yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
So what do you think about that? I look forward to your letters. Okay, Lee, what time is it?
It is time for the news roundup. Al, it's my favourite time of the week. Did I mention that?
You don't need to. It's not contractual.
Okay, cue jingle.
Yeah, jingle being cued. Lee, what have you seen?
I've got a new word.
Okay, you alluded to this in the intro. What is your new word?
Well, can I say a new word if it's 2 words?
New phrase.
New phrase? Well, when does I feel like a phrase needs to be more than 2 words.
When does a word not become a word when there's 2 of them?
Yeah.
Your 2 by-word phrase.
Yeah.
Catch. Term. There you go.
I have new term.
Doesn't really work, does it? What's your term?
Growth hunting.
Careful how you say that. Okay. Well, he's a right growth hunter, isn't he? Okay, well growth hunting. So I usually guess growth hunting, it's in the context of what? Recruitment, engagement, management, business?
Yeah, all of those things.
Okay. Is it just simply trying to get more growth?
Growth from what? In what way?
Like you, darling, you're like 4'8" and you're growth hunting all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, is it more like you're trying to grow the business?
No, It's more of an individual employee thing, actually.
Okay.
So it's about
school me.
I will school you. This comes from our friend of the show, Jeff LeBlanc.
Love Jeff.
Yeah, we love Jeff. If you haven't listened to his episode, if you've not come across Jeff, he is a lecturer at Bentley University. He has been tracking how Gen Z approaches the workplace. And in a brilliant piece for Fast Company, he suggests that younger workers aren't job hunting, they're growth hunting.
Oh, I see.
So they're not chasing titles, they're not waiting around for promotions, they're looking for momentum, progress, movement. They're in a hurry, Al. The kids are in a hurry.
They just can't wait for tomorrow, can they?
No, and if they can't find that where they are, they're going to move on and they're going to do it without guilt. So this comes from a study Jeff quoted from Youngstown State University, which surveyed 1,000 full-time professionals in the US. The results showed that nearly half of Gen Z workers are already planning to leave their current roles, not for higher pay, but for better growth. And that figure was higher than any other generation surveyed. So 86% of Gen Z won't pursue upskilling unless their employer helps to fund it. So they're looking for the money as well. 43% say they're too burnt out to take on extra learning outside of work hours. And 76% say cost is the biggest barrier to their development, not ambition or interest. So what Jeff is basically saying in his article, that this isn't impulsiveness or disloyalty, it's a logical response to how work is currently structured, and actually points to a wider problem that many companies promote the idea of growth, but in practice they expect employees to figure it out for themselves, to fund it, schedule it, squeeze it in around full workload. So Jeff says that growth hunting is Gen Z taking that development talk at face value. If leaders say they value learning, then Gen Z expects to see action, and when it's missing, they move on. Our thoughts?
Well, that makes sense. Gen Z, they are bucking the trend very much. I mean, there's lots of studies. I seem to think there's as many studies out there showing that Gen Z want more money as they want more opportunities. But I sense from the very limited sample survey I've had with Gen Z is that it's not necessarily about the money. It's about
not about the money.
It's about
just want to make the world dance.
Was that Gina G?
No, Exa. It was Jessie J.
I knew someone with a single letter. Anyway, so
she's had a tough time, hasn't she?
Jay?
Yeah.
Why?
She had breast cancer and stuff.
Oh my God.
And then I think she got dropped from her label, and then all sorts of things going on. And
keep it light. This is light
she's back on top now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. She got new songs out, and they're quite catchy. They're a bit
shouty.
No, they're a bit. What's a polite word? Mumsy.
Oh.
I'm not sure that's a polite word.
No, I'm not sure it is.
I might get cancelled for that. Anyway, Alex, you were saying about Gen Z.
Yeah, sorry, Jessie, if you're listening. Sorry about that. Gen Z, yeah, look, the fact is that they want different things out of work, I think, and it is cool. They obviously want to learn new skills. I have a sneaking suspicion they want to learn new skills so they can do some kind of side hustle with them. I think they're using work to bank the training so that they could potentially use them themselves. And good for them. As someone who is unemployable, I appreciate, I fully support that.
Yeah, or they're trying to diversify income streams. It's whatever spin you want to give that, isn't it? I think, do you know what? I don't think Gen Z necessarily want anything that we all don't want. They're just louder about it. They're more open about it. I have seen this in clients that I've worked with where they've done half of the work. So they'll put in place like a development fund for people and then question why people aren't taking it up. And it's usually because, well, they don't know what is necessarily available. They haven't been coached through what development might be useful for them now and in the future. And they're expected to do it amongst a very busy day job, and there just isn't the time. So I think what I like about this is Jeff kind of really pointing out that, yes, that growth hunting is important, but it's not just about making development opportunities available. It's about funding them. It's about making these career pathways clear. It's about promoting based on capability. So if you want to promote somebody to a management role, here's a crazy idea. Why don't you train them in management skills? So I think it's kind of obvious. I think it's probably around for ages. I love that Jeff has put a term that makes sense and feels like it is, it's reasonable. I don't think it's outrageous. I like it.
Nice one, Jeff. He's been on a couple of times, I think, on the show, hasn't he? But we've got, what episode is it? Is it about 200 and something?
207. Yeah, we had a really good conversation about Gen Z, about burnout, about empathy and what that looks like in action. And if you're interested in more on that, he does have a new book out. It is called Engaged Empathy Leadership. It's out now. It is packed with lots of practical stuff really on how to lead with both heart and structure. And that, again, is why I love Jeff's work. It's about this lovely balance, isn't it? Being empathetic isn't about being soft. It's about being fair. And his model is completely science-backed, and it does focus, as I said, on this balance of fairness and kindness and accountability, which, let's be honest, a lot of teams need right now.
Yep. So if you're looking for a new book to read in 2026, Engaged Empathy Leadership is definitely one of them. He's also a funny guy. He's from Boston, I think, and he schooled me on donuts. He said something about Boston donuts are different to other donuts, if I recall.
Cool.
I think I cut that bit out of the interview. But anyway.
We'll leave the link to his book, his episode, and Boston donuts in the show notes. I'll what have you seen, though?
Okay, so I saw an article this morning on X, which was about complaining and how it's proven to literally rewire your brain. X, I do like X, but a lot of stuff on X tends to be just a bit made up. This one's actually based on research at Stanford. You may have heard of Stanford. It appears in Stanford Medical News, and there is a link in the show notes. Here's the basics, right? So complaining literally rewires your brain. So if you repeatedly vent, then you're going to strengthen what they call the neural circuits linked to stress, threat detection, and negativity. In other words, you're literally rewiring it to vent and to complain. Secondly, your brain obviously gets better at what it practices. So thanks to neuroplasticity, did I say that right?
Yeah, lovely.
The more you complain, the more efficient your brain becomes at spotting problems and anticipating the worst. Thirdly, temporary frustration can become a default mindset, they say. So over time, this shifts baseline stress levels upwards, making everyday irritations feel bigger and more emotionally charged. I definitely know some people who are like that. And finally, negativity becomes automatic, not deliberate. Once these pathways dominate, the brain starts interpreting the world through a threat-first lens, even when nothing serious is wrong. Because I did door-to-door sales back when I was a kid, and it was one of these companies were like, "Hey, let's talk about Tony Robbins in the morning," blah, 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 and just basically try and take your mind off the fact that you're going to be in the cold, all the snow for 8 hours, knocking on doors, being told to piss off. Then I sort of got into this mindset now of I don't complain about stuff I don't think. I think if something's really bad, I'll get a little bit annoyed for a few minutes, then I'll just try and move on. Lee, what are your thoughts? I don't think you complain much either.
I think we complain about the same as each other and probably a fair amount.
Yeah. We
get frustrated when things happen that are a blocker to our goals or get in the way or feel unfair. Mm-hmm. Do we complain? I don't think so. And and the reason I feel fairly confident is I have a very physiological reaction when I'm around people who are very negative.
Yep.
Like I want to run away as fast as I can, probably after slapping them with some kind of fish.
What would be your fish of choice?
Oh,
good.
You don't want anything too aggressive.
No.
So we're not talking like a sea bass or bream that got quite like spiky fins. And you don't want anything too big like a salmon or a tuna. It's just
you could kill someone there.
Yeah, you really could. Yeah. I'd say like a medium-sized sardine.
I agree. Medium, not the little ones you get in the tins.
No,
maybe
not like
one about the same size as perhaps the palm of your hand or something. I suppose.
Oh yeah, the size of your hand, like base to top of middle finger.
Small mackerel, large sardine, perhaps a medium-sized pilchard. Pilchard's a good word to say. Anyway, that wasn't what the news article was about. So why this matters at work, it's that the whole point is that if you're in a team that just sort of normalizes this complaining, you may unintentionally train each other into lower resilience. You might be more likely to react quickly, and that's obviously going to affect, but in my opinion, it's going to affect your decision making because you're always looking at the negative side. Now, the good news is that the research highlighted by the Stanford University School of Medicine, I was looking to see if that had got a fun acronym, but it doesn't. It's called the SUSM. Shows that these pathways can be redirected, but only once people understand what's happening. They need to consciously practice different responses. And you know what? If you are a negative person, I hate to get all like universe and woo-woo, but I do think you manifest what you think about all the time. And I think if you're constantly thinking the world is a bit shit, then the world will be a bit shit. Isn't there like some kind of thing where, I forget what it's called, and reticular activation or something, where if you think about a red car, or you're going to go and buy a car, and suddenly you see that type of car all over the road. Mm-hmm. Is there a name for that? Do you know it?
Probably, I don't know off the top of my head.
If I can find it, I'll edit it back in seamlessly. And so I think that's the thing. If you look at things negatively, you expect things to go wrong, and you're just waiting for the hammer to fall, then it will, because you'll notice the small things. Anyway, I'm getting a bit on my high horse here. So
I think you're absolutely right. That's where kind of all this positive psychology stuff makes sense, isn't it? Things like gratitude journaling and being hopeful and optimistic and practicing that is something you can practice, and it does literally change the way your brain is wired.
I watched something from Jimmy Carr the other day. By the way, I'm getting loads of stuff on Tick Shorts. What do we call it? TickTube. YouTube Shorts. I'm getting loads of stuff from Jimmy Carr at the moment of him being quite serious. And quite interesting and like, sort of philosophical. And this one particular one, he basically said that he does gratitude journaling at night. That's what he does at night. He says, and I don't just like write down, I'm so grateful to be a world famous comedian, which is what his words exactly. He said, I'm just grateful that today this happened and today that happened. And I'm a huge believer in that. It's not wanky woo-woo. It is something that just helps you remind that 100 things happen today. Generally, 3 of them will be bad, 60 will be medium, and then there'll be some good stuff in there to remind you anyway.
And like all these things, there is a technique to it. So if you are gratitude journaling, things like being very specific about what you're grateful for, linking it to people rather than stuffs.
Yeah.
And remembering to be grateful for any kind of pain that's been taken away, not just things that are kind of good. So what was it? Oh, you had a sore tummy the other day, right?
Oh, 3 days I had stomach. We brought some gorgonzola back from Italy, and it sat in the car for 8 hours whilst we drove back from Italy to Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I'm not sure it did it any good at all, because I had some stupid thing to have it late at night. When I say late at night, I'm an old person. It was about 9:30. Had some on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh my goodness, I honestly thought I was dying. I thought I was going to have to get Leanne out of bed and take me to hospital. It was awful. Yeah. And then suddenly I woke up the next morning, it was gone. And
so that's something to put in your gratitude journal.
Exactly. And it's almost worth having that stomach ache.
Almost.
Just to feel better the next morning. Anyway, what else do you see, my love?
I saw a very cool article in Fortune by somebody called Christina Lee, who has just joined Slate, the company, as head of marketing. And she shared a thought about burnout and wellbeing. And as there's so much around at the moment about burnout and wellbeing, I thought this was a very different take and something that is incredibly practical. And I think every organisation should really think about in terms of how they put together their benefits, particularly this time of year. We're sometimes rethinking those, aren't they? Her suggestion, and it started through a LinkedIn post, was fairly simple. She said, why not offer a cleaning service stipend?
What's a stipend?
A budget allowance.
For cleaning?
Yes, cleaning employees' homes.
Oh, I think you meant at work.
No.
So basically a company would go, there you go, there's X amount a month, and you can go and get a cleaner.
Yeah.
Now, that's cool for a couple of reasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. Go on.
Why do you like it?
I like it because I love a clean home, even though I don't really like cleaning. Some people really like cleaning. Some
people do get kicks from cleaning. Yeah.
But then also it's helping fuel the economy a little bit by giving more work, and it's just, and you're basically employing potentially 2 people for the same price. I like that.
True that, yeah. So Christina's argument was that while wellness things like gym perks are fine, they don't work for everybody. Not everyone wants to spend their limited free time on a treadmill. But for a lot of people, she said, a clean home does far more for their well-being than another thing to add to the schedule. So her point was, rather than kind of give me something I have to do, take something off my plate. It's very practical. It's very human. Yeah, I really, really liked it. Now, what she didn't expect, this was a LinkedIn post, just a thought from the sky out of things that could be useful to have as a wellness perk. What she didn't expect was for her company to act on it.
Oh.
So the next day, Slate's HR team got in touch to say they'd seen the post, loved the idea, and leadership had agreed to add it as a benefit.
Brilliant. Please tell me they're calling the benefit Clean Slate.
Oh. This is why they pay you the big marketing bucks.
Nobody pays you the big marketing bucks. Sorry, you and the flow.
They should. So employees now receive a $200 monthly cleaning budget paid via a company credit card, or it's reimbursed, which HR said made particularly sense given that Slate is also fully remote. Of course it does. It makes all the sense.
I want to work for Slate.
So do I. Eric Stark is the co-founder, if you want to go stalk him on LinkedIn. He said the idea stood out precisely because it wasn't grand or flashy. He said that you don't need expensive programs to make a difference. Sometimes the most impactful benefits come from listening closely and removing friction from people's lives. Yes, Eric.
Yes, Eric. Eric gets it. Be more Eric.
I did do a little dip into the research just because it feels like you said it, a clean home just feels like a clean mind, doesn't it? And I think that is one of those cliche phrases that they put on like fridge magnets or something. But there is actually some psychology behind it. There's not loads of research, but the research there is has consistently shown that cluttered home environments are actually linked to higher stress and lower well-being. And this was from a study actually published just last year, that people who experience their home as chaotic or visually overwhelming report feeling mentally drained, and it affects their mood and life satisfaction as well. So there really is genuinely a link between not only giving people time back, which is a massive thing in terms of our well-being and our sense of self and control and detachment from work, but it actually does have links to improved well-being and mood and satisfaction. So yeah, I love it. Slate, bravo.
Well done, Slate. Well done, Slate. Right, okay, just before we take a very short break, I want to quickly remind everyone that Amy McCowan, friend of the show, you'll see her on LinkedIn. We're always having arguments on LinkedIn. She has a senior strategy circle that she's launching this January. It's called Do Workplace Health Right. It is 12-week program. It's closer, she describes it, closer to an executive MBA discussion group than any kind of training program. There's loads of great stuff on there. I've not got the time to tell you about all of it. But Leanne Elliott, I believe she's going to be involved in it. You should definitely get involved in that. If you are interested, just check out the show notes. Then there'll be a link there to go and have a look at it. I believe there's about 3 or 4 days left for you to sign up. There's some really, really quite big speakers on there, including Leanne, obviously. And then also the people who are coming, they're coming from all kinds of things. Like we've got HR directors, we've got occupational directors, we've got people from Saudi Aramco. That probably means something to someone. University of York. There's all kinds of people there. So I think it might be right up your street. So go and have a check it out.
Yeah, it should be good. It's basically like everything you've heard about well-being that just feels really detached and impersonal and not very effective. It's about going, let's just forget about that and talk about what actually works.
Yes, absolutely. So go and check that out in the show notes. Right, we'll see you in just a second for our Truth or Lie segment. We'll see you soon. Okay, welcome back. Time for Truth or Lie, our weekly myth-busting segment where we take a big psychological claim and ask, is it true or is it a lie? It's January. It's that weird time of the year. We're all a bit tired. I suppose we're saying we're reflective, but actually a lot of us are just tired. I see that all over LinkedIn. I'm reflecting on 2025. No, you're not. You just want to look like you are. But I hope that we all are quietly ambitious, and I hope that we're telling ourselves that this is the year that things are going to change. And if you spent any time online recently, you'll have seen one idea everywhere. You'll see it in books, you'll see it on socials, in podcasts, in wellness spaces, even in business circles. The idea is that if you manifest success, i.e. if you visualize it clearly enough, believe in it clearly enough, align your thoughts with it, success will come to you. So this week's question is a big one and one a lot of people genuinely want to know the answer to. Can you manifest success by just visualizing it? It's
a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. I think before we go any further, I just want to be really clear about what we mean by manifestation, because it can get a bit muddled. So manifestation, as it's usually talked about, isn't just imagining yourself doing something well. It's the belief that thoughts themselves have a kind of causal power. So if you picture the promotion, the relationship, the confidence, the money, and really believe it's coming, then the universe, your subconscious, or reality itself will somehow rearrange things in your favor. Okay? That is different from what psychologists call visualization. So visualization has been studied for years, and it's about basically mentally rehearsing things in your head. So the actions, the steps, preparing your mind and your body to do something difficult. These two things often get bundled together, but psychologically they're doing very different things. So I just wanted to kind of mention that.
So visualization is not just sitting there dreaming about winning the lottery. Visualization is actually visualization. That's a bad example. Visualization is not about.
It's a fine example.
But I'm trying to think of
there manifesting that you're going to win a lottery, but never actually buy a ticket. It's not going to happen, is it?
True. But I was thinking more like, some of the sports people, like David Beckham, for example. He talks a lot about it, where he will visualize, and also there's it's a winter sport. I want to say the luge or something. Does that mean something to you? Maybe I've just used a rude word that I don't understand. But the luge, where they actually visualize, they visualize going down the course, and when they have to turn left.
Okay, like the bobsled.
That's probably what it is. Yes, exactly. There should be a film about that or something. I'd put John Candy in there. Anyway, I feel like I've taken us slightly off course. Visualize, manifest, cool. Got it.
Yes. So in terms of can this mental imagery actually help us, There is no question at all that mental imagery can influence behaviour. That's not controversial in psychology. That's just kind of like fact at this point.
Yeah.
One of the clearest examples comes from, as you mentioned, Al, sports psychology. So in a controlled study, they took absolute beginner golfers. Researchers wanted to see whether imagining the task would make any difference to how people trained. So everybody learned the basics of putting. That's the last bit when you put the ball in the hole.
Yep.
I don't know.
Southerners will say putting.
Putting.
Yeah.
Yes. One group was also taught how to use imagery, so how to picture the movement, the timing, the feel of the action, the sequence involved in a successful put. You can see like the movie kind of
montage.
Of that moment, can't you?
Yeah.
What changed wasn't skill overnight necessarily, but it was behaviour. So the people using imagery practiced more often, they practiced for longer, they set clearer goals, and were more consistent outside of the experiment lab. So basically, imagining the task didn't make them magically better. It made them more engaged with the work of getting better.
Makes sense.
Yeah. A similar pattern also showed up in a much larger study looking at physical activity. So researchers worked with 182 adults who weren't exercising at all and trained them to use different kinds of imagery over 4 weeks. So some imagined the outcome, so feeling fitter, healthier. Some imagined the process, so putting on your trainers, going outside, moving your body.
And they're just imagining it at this point, visualizing it.
Yep.
Yep.
And some combined the two.
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of the study, it wasn't necessarily that the people using imagery were transformed, but they were doing more physical activity than those who didn't. So the researchers basically found that the imagery increased planning, intention, and follow through. So the imagery didn't cause a behaviour, it supported it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And across the research, that is the consistent finding, that mental imagery can help people by increasing motivation, reducing anxiety, clarifying goals, and making the action feel much more manageable.
Love it. That makes perfect sense to me, because often it's like that's the biggest problem, is actually going out there and putting your shoes on and going out for a run. Yeah. Even just putting your shoes and going out for a walk sometimes. You're just like, oh, well, I'll do it later. I'll just have a piece of chocolate, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the case 4.
That's the case 4.
I'm 1 by now. Okay, I agree. It's not, but now we need to hear the case against.
Yes, well, this is more the case for manifestation. So what we just heard about is visualization. It's that mental imagery.
Right.
Remember I said that manifestation's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So in terms of studies that have looked at manifestation itself, it's not quite as convincing, but it is still maybe useful. So in one large study, researchers measured how strongly people believed that thoughts alone could create success. And they also looked at very concrete outcomes of things like income, education, financial stability. People who believe strongly in manifestation tended to feel more optimistic and more confident about the future. But that belief had no relationship with actual success markers like income or education. So basically, feeling hopeful made them feel better about themselves, but didn't actually turn into better outcomes. More so, strong belief in manifestation was linked at times to overconfidence and poor financial decisions, because people were more likely to underestimate risk and assume that things would work out and end up in a bit of a pickle. So the explanation that researchers gave was fairly straightforward, and you probably got there yourself, is that if you believe success is guaranteed by belief alone, then you're less likely to check in with reality, seek feedback, or actually do the work that's needed to help move things forward. And other studies have shown a similar problem when people focus on imagining success without imagining how they'll get there. So without vividly picturing the steps and just the end result, it can create a premature sense of reward. So the brain feels a bit like the goal has already been achieved, when it can actually reduce motivation. When researchers then looked at students using visualization, the effects were only positive when the imagery was tied to effort, strategy, and practice. So it is, again, this mental imagery of the process as well as the outcome. So imaging manifestation itself didn't improve performance, and all of the research basically gives you the same result. Thinking feels productive, but it's actually the action which is productive. So yes, manifestation does have a role. And as we've heard from the research, people who manifest these things, these successful outcomes, do feel more hopeful and more confident. So it's not to say that manifestation isn't necessarily a good thing, so long as it is tied with also the visualization of the process that's needed to get you there. So it is a lie that you can manifest success just by picturing the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But what is true is that the imagery, the visualization can help you act. So when people imagine the process, the steps, the effort, the moment that they usually avoid, then they do practice more, they plan better, and they stick with it longer. So imagery works when you picture doing and achieving.
I love it. I love it. So I think manifestation, I think a lot of people, they believe if they manifest something, it's magic and it's just going to appear. And unfortunately, there are lots and lots of stories out there of someone who went, oh, I imagined this every single day. And then I came home and there was a big check waiting for me, or I'd won the lottery, or this person stopped me in the street and said, can you come and work for me? I'll give you £1 million a month. And obviously those stories are stories because they are not the norm. They're the rule that, whatever that phrase is, is against the practice of the thing.
The exception, not the rule.
That's the one, the exception that proves the rule.
Against the practice of the...
I just dipped into my big word bag there and just pulled out a random load of words.
I think as well, it massively and that what kind of frustrates me when people talk about their success stories through this, I manifested this and I did that. And it's like, you're taking away from all the effort and work that you've put in. Talk about the work, talk about the effort. And I think that's where you and I really get our kicks from talented people.
Yeah.
So we'll listen to interviews with famous singers that we have no real interest in, but we'll hear about the hustle and the grind and how they played underground gigs for 10 years and then suddenly had overnight success. And you and I appreciate that. We appreciate and actually all of us do. We like to hear about the effort. We value the outcome more. So value that in yourself as well. Invest in the process,
Totally agree. And I think it's very lazy thinking, really. Just, I'm going to manifest something. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to have to get off your arse and do something about it. What's the I said the little ginger kid. He's probably about 30. Music.
Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran, yes. Sorry, am I boring you? Ed Sheeran. Yeah, just quite...
Immediate reaction I have to Ed Sheeran. I was just so tired of his voice.
Yeah, no, he's insanely talented, but yes. I'm sure even Ed's a bit sick of Ed Sheeran himself. But, the stories of him playing, and there are actual YouTube videos of him playing to 30 people.
Yeah.
When he was 12 or something.
And wasn't it that he couldn't get into the solo guitar slots open mic because they were always full,
right?
So he booked onto the hip hop ones instead.
Right? Did he?
Yeah.
the least likely hip hop. Although I'm trying. God, I'm so terrible at names. Jamie Foxx is a great interview on Graham Norton with Jamie Foxx and how he introduced Ed Sheeran to a room full, and his words, a room full of very black people. And it didn't go the way you think. So anyway, right, okay. So is there anything else to add to that, love?
No.
I feel like I just shut the door on that.
So go manifest and visualize.
I am manifesting some amazing answers to this week's surgery questions, which are coming up right now. Question 1, Leanne: what's the earliest sign of burnout? Burnout's that gift that keeps on giving. I just see it everywhere at the moment. So someone wrote in and said, "Hi, Alan, Leanne. In your experience, what's the first sign of burnout that tends to show up?" This is before someone's actually able to admit they're burnt out. Not the obvious stuff like crashing and taking time off, but the subtle early signs people often miss. I'm trying to spot it earlier in myself and my team. Okay, so am I understanding this right, Leanne, that this is someone who wants to kind of spot it before potentially even the person realizes?
Sounds like that, doesn't it? Or in themselves.
Yeah.
So burnout has 3 main symptoms according to the official definition that we get from the World Health Organization. That's basically exhaustion. So that's not just feeling tired. That's periods of extreme tiredness over a long period. It also includes cynicism. So basically the negative thoughts we were talking about before in your Stanford research, Al, and detachment from work. So just not getting excited by it, not really kind of feeling it anymore. They're the main three areas. I don't believe any research that says which one might appear first or second or third or in what order. I think it's quite an individual experience. But anecdotally, and I say this because there might well be research out there and I haven't read it. Anecdotally, I think the proper exhaustion is the one that comes last. I think that's when people like literally crash. I think was it Sally Clark that told us a story of how she was visiting her brother and walking through the airport, got into his arms and literally just collapsed, fainted because she was so exhausted.
Right.
So I think more than likely a detachment from work, feelings of cynicism, feeling negative, just, being meh, I think is probably some signs, particularly if people are, that you know them to be more positive or more objective or even realistic. If you start to see this negativity creep in, that could be a sign. I think any changes in behaviour, in appearance, could be a sign to anybody who is maybe used to really be into a hobby and aren't engaging in that anymore. People who might be drinking more, people who might be using drugs or, kind of want to find that high. It could be, and I remember Kate Donovan talking about this, who's a burnout expert, has been on the show a couple of times. One of her things that she always talked about was like, if you're not finding time in your day to go to the bathroom, you're burning out.
Right.
And I've done that in my career at various points. I'm like, I just need to finish this. I just need to finish this. And I'd be dying for a wee, but I'd be so like, no, I need to get this done, that I'd stop those moments of very basic self-care. So I think that's a good example as well from Kate, and then any other aspects of self-care as well. So I think they're the subtle signs in yourself as well. You might experience physiological signs like stomachache, hair loss can be a sign of stress. There's lots of different things that could point to burnout in a way far before it gets to any kind of significant point. But I'd look for any subtle changes in behaviour, any things that people loved they're not engaging with anymore, or anything around self-care, change in appearance, or just how someone's looking after themselves could be a sign.
So is it possible that someone will go through a period of cynicism, all those three things, cynicism, detachment and exhaustion, was that it? And it's not burnout, it's just that they are perhaps a little bit ill, or they're at the end of a project which is a bit boring or a bit stressful, and then it wouldn't develop into burnout.
Absolutely, yeah. Burnout, these are all of these symptoms over a prolonged period of time. Right. It's having a detrimental effect on health and performance and relationships and every aspect of our life. So burnout is a very chronic issue and is very detrimental to people's life and work and relationships. So yes, people will feel detached from work from time to time. They'll feel really tired if they're working long hours. They might feel a bit cynical if they've got a really rubbish manager. So there's going to be pockets where we will feel these things, and perhaps all of them together for a shorter period of time. But the idea is that it's an intense feelings of exhaustion and detachment and cynicism for a prolonged period of time.
I think that's possibly, talking to the person who's written in with this question, that's probably the problem you're going to have, is that you're looking for early signs of burnout. And the whole point is that burnout, you probably only notice it when it's mid to late, because that's going to be over a prolonged period of time. Or is that unfair?
I think it depends how well you know a person, right? So you'll notice signs in me when I start to feel a bit burnt out. I'll probably go a bit quieter, a bit more inward.
I would say it's like someone's turned the volume down from 10 to 8 or 6 with you.
Yeah, lose a little bit of brightness. So if you know somebody really well, you will see the signs. If you don't know them so well, then they will be harder to spot, which is why in an employee situation, you also want to be looking at wellbeing from an organisational level. So the things that I talked about quite a bit recently, these psychosocial risk factors, the environment you're creating. You can also include this, and should be including it, and we include it in our employee insight survey that we do with our clients, is a measure of wellbeing that will look at burnout, that will look at positivity, that will look at basically if people are feeling cynical or not hopeful about the future of the organisation, so we can provide a composite score of wellbeing for the client and give them a norm as well in terms of how that's looking. So it's not just a case of going, oh, everyone's feeling wonderful. It's a case of saying everybody is feeling levels of well-being that are in line with an average point that's not problematic. It's not always about being like happy and bouncy. It's just not being burnt out, basically. So you can include it as well in your employee insight survey, and you should be doing that as well.
Yeah, if you're interested in more of that, then check out Kate Donovan's episodes, check out her podcast, she's got an upcoming book from quite a new publishing house called Blue Goat Books. She's got a book coming out, so definitely, second book, I think, or maybe even third.
Second, yeah.
So go and check her out. Leanne's looking over my shoulder to see if she can find the first one, which should be somewhere behind us.
Yes.
We're about 2 months away from moving out of house, and I have noticed that we've got a little bit of burnout in this house. In that we're not putting things back to exactly. We quite liked having all our books in one place and everything.
Yeah,
and I noticed we're
a bit detached, aren't we?
A little detached. We are. Anyway, on to question number 2. Is it really that hard to find a good manager? Leanne,
yes.
Yeah, it is.
Next question.
Leanne, this person writes, I'm trying to take a bit of a step back from the day-to-day of running my business and bringing someone in to run things properly on the ground. The problem is finding the right manager feels like a bit of a minefield. I know how much I handle myself, and it might take 2 people to fully replace me. Okay. What I'm wondering is, how hard is it really to find someone solid, someone you can trust to run things without it all falling apart? Ooh, Lee.
It's really hard to find someone solid. It's really hard to find someone you can trust without things falling apart. But I'd say this is like step 5 and we're still on step 1.
Right.
You know? I mean, what's really good is you kind of said that it might take 2 people to fully replace me. And that's a question you have to answer in terms of the areas of your current role that you want to hand over, that you should hand over. And they're going to be 2 different things, because there might be some kind of admin, more base task that you really enjoy doing, but somebody of your position shouldn't be spending their time doing those things. So it's really going through your day, probably for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, and kind of just writing down everything that you're doing, what's taking up your time, your energy, and with that, what do you want to hand over to get more energy back? So anything that you are spending your time doing that you hate and is taking energy away from you, that's something you definitely want to hand over to somebody else. Anything that is beyond your capability. So founders will be everything, won't they? They'll be ops, they'll be marketing, they'll be socials, they'll be finance. And it might be that you really like Instagram, but if you're not very good at it, that might be something to hand off to somebody else as well. Same with, marketing in general. It might be that there are some areas of expertise that now's a good time to bring into your business. What you're basically doing there is a very informal job analysis in terms of what the tasks that you want to hand over are and the frequency of them. You can start to allocate a time period to that as well. So you might be looking for 3 part-time people rather than 1 full-time person. It could be that you need to split out this role just to be able to find people with the right expertise that you can trust and they can handle it all for you without things falling apart, rather than trying to expect to find one person who is a jack of all trades who can take on all of these various different things that you're currently doing as a founder. So start with exactly that, and then you'll be able to kind of understand what it is you're looking for. Is it one manager? Is it an administrator? Is it a marketing manager? Is it an ops director? Is it a team of freelancers and contractors that could come in and do project type work? So you need to do this job analysis first. Once you've thought about the tasks and you've got an idea of some job descriptions and what they look like, then you can look at more the person's specifications, the type of experience they might need, education, background, knowledge, skills, abilities, all that kind of stuff. And then you'll be able to go to market and actually find somebody. They might be a management role, they might not. At this point, we don't know. If it does end up being a manager role, what I would recommend that you include in your recruitment process, and we want different ways to assess somebody's competencies for the job. And that's going to be things like interviewing or a work sample test. Includes some kind of psychometrics there, but behavior-based psychometrics. You want to understand how this person works within an organization in terms of their ability to engage others, to influence others, and to manage themselves as well. So definitely look at some kind of psychometrics there in the recruitment process. But I think the first step, which I think is sexy, but most people think is boring, is job analysis.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about job analysis, then go on to the show notes, send Leanne an email, because Leanne, it's one of those things that everyone says, yes, we're going to do, and then no one actually does. So definitely get in touch with Leanne, book a call. And then sometime in March, we've got a woman called Kate Young. She's going to be talking more about job analysis as well. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a contrarian view on this. I don't think the person writing in really wants to find a manager to replace them. I've been looking at the email. I was going to say the letter. Then there's no letter. Looking at the email. This phrase: I know how much I handle myself, and it might take two people to fully replace me. This person wants to be important, in my opinion. This person wants. There's going to be you're not some superhuman who actually does the work of two people in one day. You're not. You're very unlikely to be that person. There's some harsh words here, but I don't think you really want to replace it. Or more importantly, you want to justify just how important you are in the business by saying you do the work of two people and that you can't find anyone to replace them because you're worried that when you do find someone to replace them, they'll do a better job than you. Sorry about that. That's not a psychologist's point of view. That's a fellow business owner who's been there kind of point of view. But is that unfairly?
No, this is where, do you remember the big toddler energy?
Yes.
From entrepreneurs. I think this is where it can creep in when you start to build a team. And if you've not been honest with yourself in terms of how hard things might be to give up and actually whether you're the right person to do it, you might enjoy it, you might want to, but if you're not very good at it, you're just going to cause friction in a business and there'll be somebody else thinking, I could do that better. And you should let them. So it's as much as a psychological transition, isn't it, this, as it is a very practical one. So yeah, I think there's lots of thoughts that need to go into this. And we're always in such a rush, aren't we, entrepreneurs? You know, they want to get that job advert out straight away. And it's almost a surprise to them when they make a hire and it doesn't work out. And it's like, well, you need to put the effort in to find the right person. If you don't understand what you want, how are you going to find it?
Yeah, exactly. If you're dating, the whole point of it is that it's not a date, it's a relationship you want. So yeah. Yes. Anyway. Right, okay, on to question number 3. This person simply says, I hate my job. What's the first step? I'm sorry to hear that. I hate my job. I'm not even sure how it got this bad, but I feel completely stuck, like I'm in survival mode, just trying to get through the week. I know I probably need to make a change, but I don't have the headspace for big plans right now. We've talked about this quite a bit already today. What I need is a first step, something small that might help me feel even a bit more in control. So what's the most practical thing someone in this position can do to start digging themselves out? This is really sad. I'm sorry for you. If this does resonate with anyone listening, then first of all, if it's a practical advice you want, then check out the show notes. There's Leanne's emails in there. You can book like 15 minutes with Leanne, have a chat. If it's worse than that and you are feeling really despondent, then check out, because there's lots of links to people like the Samaritans and stuff where you can actually talk to. But so let's hope that this person is not quite there at this point. Lee, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to hear, isn't it? I feel like I'm in survival mode, just trying to get through the week. There could well be an element of burnout here as well. There could be lots of the things going on. And I think with that, in terms of a first step, and this might sound really silly, but it's figuring out why you hate your job could be really valuable. Because it might be that if you are experiencing burnout, it might be that you don't hate your job. You're just exhausted. You're feeling cynical about everything around you and you're just feeling a bit detached from what the organisation is doing because you are overworked. You've hit a point of burnout. It could be that you actually love your job. It's just not the right organisation for you. It could be that you hate your job, you hate the industry you're in, and you need a complete career pivot. And I think figuring this out is so important for anybody who's really feeling that they hate their job, because making that next move is going to be really important to have that clarity to maximize the chance of success for your own confidence and your own self-efficacy. So your confidence in doing your job and just, you know, your financial prospects as well. If this doesn't work out well, it can be really tricky to move on from another job so quickly, or if you do leave that job, perhaps on a CV, blah, blah, blah. So I think much like our founder, I would just keep a little journal of things that you enjoyed during the day, things that, whether it be interactions with certain people or customers, whether it be aspects of your job that you actually didn't mind, any moments where you found yourself in a state of flow. So that's when you're doing a task and you look up and time is just quickly spun by. Anything that you're also on the flip side absolutely hating, the things that are dragging energy out of you that make you want to go to the bathroom and cry, tear your hair out, all the things, and just trying to identify the patterns of why you might not be enjoying your job right now. Is it the people? Is it the job? Is it the industry? Is it the organization? Is it the customers? Is it the clients? Is it just the fact that there is so much going on in other areas of your life that work just feels too hard right now? So as a first step, I would keep a little journal of your day-to-day and make a note of anything that you do and don't like. And don't forget as well to make sure this is tasks and people. People are going to be really important, because if you're enjoying all of your tasks but hating all the people interactions you're having, that says to me you don't hate your job, you hate the organisation that you're in. So you're going to get some clues in terms of what's going on, and then you can make some decisions. After that, I would always recommend the Vitals model, Meg Selig, in Audrey Tang's book, Leader's Guide to Resilience. So your values, your interests, your temperament, your around the clock, so the time of day that you function the best, your life goals and your strengths. And reflect on those. I do have a handout for that, so give me a little email if you want that. And go through that exercise and figure out what your vitals are. The idea being that if our vitals aren't being met, our mental health and well-being is going to suffer. And figuring out where work is meeting some of those vitals, where other aspects of your life are meeting those vitals. And then we can look at what we can do to improve those vitals. So for me, a big thing in my career was volunteering. I wasn't able to find that value alignment in my early career. So I joined the Samaritans and found huge amounts of value in that in terms of finding purpose and meaning and my people. That's where I met Al. So I'd say that's the second step to it as well. But this will feel overwhelming as well when you're just feeling like you're in survival mode. But in terms of something small that might help you feel even a bit more in control, is I think how you put it, that's what it's going to be, because it's understanding exactly why you hate your job. And once you've got that information, you can start to make some decisions more confidently.
Okay, right. If you have a question that you want me to put to Leanne, then all the links are in the show notes. Links to everything we've said are in the show notes, I believe. That's everything for now. We are back on Thursday with a brand new expert interview. We'll be joined by Beth Sherman. She's a comedian and 7 times Emmy award-winning writer. Basically, she's written for Ellen DeGeneres. I can't say her name for some reason. Ellen DeGeneres? How do you say it? DeGeneres. She's written for Ellen. She's written for late night shows with all the people you've heard of. She's here to share how she uses humour to build trust, rapport, and confident decision-making. You don't want to miss that one at all.
You absolutely don't. And as Al mentioned before, it is a difficult time of year and things can feel a bit hard. If you are struggling at the moment or know someone who is, we have left a list of mental health resources for you in the show notes, and my contact details are there as well if there is anything I can help you with.
Yep, you'll find links to us on LinkedIn. Are we on Instagram?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We're on Instagram. You find our website, which is now fully updated, and it updates automatically.
Yeah, it's kind of sexy.
Yeah, I like that. I wrote that. I did. And also how to get in touch with the show. So we'll see you Thursday. Bye-bye.
See you on Thursday.
Bye.